Picking up from last week, one of the things that I absolutely loved about this, and I'm glad you mentioned it because I didn't think about it till you mentioned it, but how they talked about on this, these were 4 elite boxers in their prime and they fought each other. And that's the thing that you pointed out about the heavyweight thing. They fought each other. I saw an interesting thing. I saw Mike Tyson on Shaq's podcast, the big podcast, and something that Mike pointed out that was so true. He goes, back in the day, fighters fought several times a year. Fighters today fight once a year. He goes, that's what's hurting the sport. Guys take too long in between fights. He goes, remember when I was coming up, Tyson, sometimes I'd fight, almost 3-4 times in a month. Well, that's easy to do when you're knocking out in the first round.
Spears and Steinberg. You know what the it is? Aries and Andy, Chew and the Jerk. You know it's time to get this work. The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections. Always sleep. Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes. Cry, we lit. There's levels to this before you was on your mama. Aries Spears don't give a fuck. We talk about race a lot, racism. Much love to my loyal bag holders, rollers, loaders. We got them in the folders. The whole world on our shoulders. Spears and Steinberg. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't having wars at 12 rounds. You go in the distance 3-4 times a month at 12 rounds.
Yeah, he might have taken like 10 hits.
Yeah. If that.
If that.
10 blow-bys.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these fighters, and something that I said in rebuttal on my post, I won't get into it now, but about my thing, about the Ice Cube thing, and my whole point in that was I'm allowed to not like something. It's my opinion. And I gave an example where I go, dude, I'm a boxing fan, not a Floyd Mayweather fan, but I love Ali. I worshiped him. I love Tyson, Holyfield, Roy Jones. And I thought to myself, listen, man, and people, somebody even asked this question to Sugar Ray. If Floyd fought you in your prime, who wins? And of course the boxer's gonna say himself. But I truly believe, because that era was so tough, I couldn't see Floyd Mayweather beat none of them dudes except maybe Duran, because he could outspeed Duran, and look, Mayweather has great defense. But I almost still want to give it to Duran because them hands, man. There's a reason why they called them the hands of stone. But I think Haggler would have been too rugged for Floyd Mayweather. I think Sugar Ray's the slicker fighter. And Tommy Hearns, with that length and that reach and that height, would have been a problem for Mayweather.
I think that's the biggest problem. I think over Sugar Ray is his size, Hearns' size.
Right.
The reach.
That fucking reach, that was a praying mantis with gloves.
And he wasn't big, but he had solid hands, man.
Oh, my God. Rumor has it that shot he hit Duran with to knock him out, Duran's still asleep. Jesus. I know I'm jumping ahead, but did you see that shot? Yeah. Duran fell face first into the canvas. And then when he tried to get up, that nigga was out. I love the story he tells before that when he was like, basically, a dude came to me and said, hey, man, if I give you $1 million, I need you to go fight Hearns. And he goes, at that time I was drinking, had the 2 women. We went back to the hotel. I watched him do a 69. And he goes, I gained weight. But he goes, look, man, if you can bring me, Duran says to the guy in the nightclub, they're making this deal. He goes, look, if you can bring me $1 million in cash right now, I'll do it. And the guy goes, where the am I going to get $1 million at 2 o'clock in the morning? He goes, the guy brings me $500,000, and I said, it, I'll do it. But he was like, yeah, the reason why I got up was because, I was fat and out of shape. And I like when the guy goes, fighters never admit to just having lost a fight. There's always an excuse. And I forget the boxer's name, but he brings up the one boxer who said that the Jerry curl juice got into his brain, and that's the reason why he lost the fight. But yeah, man, what would you give the chances of Floyd against those 4? Do you think he beats any of those 4?
His defense is why he wins. He doesn't get hit. I think Hearns is the one
that beats him.
that can beat him.
You don't see Sugar Ray beating him?
He had skills and he's fast, but if you can't hit the guy, does it make a difference?
I don't think you go 15 rounds with Sugar Ray and not get hit.
It's a tough battle, man.
And Sugar was lightning fast.
He was fast, but he got beat too. So this is what I'm saying. Defensively, the fight would be the Haggler fight would be.
I think Haggler would knock him out.
I think that would be the amazing fight because both of them don't make mistakes.
And Haggler was just so rugged.
That's the fight that I would like to see. That I would like to see. But I think Hearns' size. I think he might, there's an awkwardness to him.
Oh yeah.
So that's tough to defend. So I don't know. It would be very interesting. It obviously never happened, but very interesting. See, I told you I'm not a big. My dad was the boxer guy, so I mean I watch these fights. I know what the fights are.
Yeah.
But I was. Like today's boxing, I'm not really there.
I'm not either.
So,
but it was great because there was those moments where it was like, and Angelo Dundee, who was Ali's trainer, was Sugar's trainer, and when he fought Hearns for the first time, and listen, man, I wish they would go back to 15 rounders. I wonder whose decision it was to cut the rounds to 12, because they would say that those last 3 rounds were the telling rounds, and when he was losing the fight to Hearns, and Angelo does the famous quote, "You're blowing it, son. You're blowing it." And Sugar pulled it together and knocked him through the ropes. Sugar was a bad dude.
I think that the fighters agreed, don't they? Because the fighters can make it a 15-round fight if they want to, can't they?
I don't know what the rules are or were, but there was a reason why they kind of, like, for lack of better words, outlawed it.
Well, because I know
when motherfuckers get hurt.
I know when Ali fought, they made decisions. Obviously, ring size is one, and the other one was how many rounds.
But Ali fought in the era where it was always 15 rounds.
He fought some 12-rounders because the people that he wanted to fight had chosen 12 rounds. So, and like you said, with Marvelous, man, he didn't always come at the beginning. He wore you down. So those later rounds were good for him.
God, you talk about if you could step back in a time machine and attend an event, man, what they call it, the greatest 3 rounds in boxing. That Hearns-Haggler fight where it was explosive for 3 straight rounds, all 3 minutes. You don't see that no more.
I don't think honestly.
Oh God!
Honestly, I think they would be tapped out after the end of the 3 rounds.
Dude, they was trying to take each other's heads off.
It was just haymakers.
Oh my God! And again, that's one of those. I remember when we talked and I said to you, man, if I could go back in a time machine and live in any era, it would be the 70s. To see Ali in his prime, even though Ali's prime was really the 60s, mid to late 60s, but to just attend the Frazier Ali fight at the Garden. That first one after he comes back from retirement, the political landscape has you picking sides. That's sports, but with history involved. Now, I know there's no real history in the best 3 rounds in boxing, but it was so explosive. Can you imagine being in Vegas on that night with that energy?
Well, that's
oh my God.
That's the thing, to be able to say I was there.
Yes. Yes. Like I said, it was a big deal because it was so much, man, people felt like the only person that could beat Mayweather was Pacquiao. He was the only real threat. And that fight took so long to happen that when it happened, it was an event. You had to be there. And I was there with my boys, $30,000 seats. But it wasn't the best 3 rounds. It didn't live up to the hype. You know what I mean? And then I love that moment where Duran, and this is what's great about the fact that they all fought each other. Duran finally fights Haggler, and he steps up, and Haggler goes, Duran goes, everybody else is scared to fight this dude because he's knocking out. Duran had not only the hands of stone, but the balls of steel because he did it. Now, he lost the fight, but it went the distance, and I love when he goes afterwards because Ray was the commentator at that point and had been retired. Duran goes, you got to fight him. You can beat him. And Ray goes, what makes you say that? Because you got to box him. Don't slug with him. You can outbox him. This is Duran telling Leonard this. And what makes this so great is before the first fight, Leonard, they were talking about how dirty Duran's tactics were.
Yeah.
When they fought in Montreal, he had a guy that would let him know when Leonard's wife left the hotel. And then this would drive up to her and say things like, after I f up your husband, I'm gonna f you. Jesus, man. Now listen, and everybody knows, and this is what made Muhammad Ali such a master. Boxing ain't just physical. You gotta get in the guy's head. And Sugar admitted, he got in my head. He got under my skin.
Yeah.
You disrespected my wife, telling her you gonna f her. So in the first fight, Ray tries to tear him up. Big mistake. He should have boxed him and fought his fight. And that's what led to him losing that first fight.
You know, I think because of the media, when I was a kid, I was a big Leonard fan.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I watched this, I'm like, I don't know that I'm... Like, I don't like how he worked Haggler.
How? Oh, Ray?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, too. Was he ducking him?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was. I think he was. You know, but not just because he's ducking him, but also when you come out of... He wasn't, like, coming up and then tuning up for fights. He came out of retirement and he was going into fights.
Right.
So I don't think that he... I don't think Leonard wanted to go and have a few fights, tune-up fights, get ready, and then go fight Haggler. I think he... And that was the tough thing. Like, you can't...
Right.
How do you come out of retirement and just go to war?
Right.
You know, no war practice?
Well, you know, he did have the one tune-up fight, which he won that fight. A lot of people say, no, he didn't. But he won the fight, but that's where he got knocked down, and he immediately announced retirement again.
That's what I'm saying. He's not going to do a tune-up fight. He has to come in and I think he was looking for a moment and he found the moment. But that whole, you know, I didn't remember that whole thing where he has the big thing in the ring and then he says, "No, I'm not going to fight you."
Right. I'm glad you brought that up. So, you know, and they talked about how embarrassing and devastating that was to Haggler. Haggler felt like, dude, you played me. You made me think you were going to announce us fighting, and then you pulled that. So it made me ask this question. And the critics got on Ray Leonard for that too. They said, dude, that's kind of like poor sportsmanship, bad taste. Who had the most, between them two of them, the most poorly played moment? That or LeBron's The Decision?
Everything today is worse because it's going to live forever. Like, you have to see this documentary to see what he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that is in... It's. I mean, you can go onto YouTube and see it, I guess.
You wouldn't even know about it unless you saw this documentary.
But everything that happens now lives forever, and
right.
it's and we're not even nice anymore. Like, you know, like anytime,
social media has entered the chat.
Yeah, it's just gonna, like, anytime LeBron says, they can go right back to that.
Right.
Not one, not two, not, you know, that's gonna haunt forever.
Right.
So it lives poorly.
So LeBron, what are you gonna do? I've decided to take my talents to South Beach. Right. So would you say that's worse?
Yeah, but it because of the you have to put it in the right context to understand why it's worse. At the time, you know, that if they both lived in their own space equally, I think they're both horrible. But you know, I still think LeBron's worse because he couldn't. If he would have got 3 championships in Miami, in not one. In Miami.
Yeah, right.
If he would have got 3 championships, then maybe he could say, yeah, but I did it.
Right.
But he didn't.
Right.
So
yeah.
So that one's worse because of that. But that was a thing to do, and you got to understand too that I think a lot of people don't, you know, unless you pay attention to boxing. These are paydays for these people.
Major.
Yeah, it's not like
each one of them got the most money they got when they fought him.
Yeah. So he held the reins to, like, are you going to retire wealthy? Or are you going to retire okay? The Leonard payday was the biggest.
And that's up because at the time Haggler was champion.
So this is part of the problems. So I think that even when they fought and he's the champion, Leonard got 14 million.
Yeah, Haggler got 11.
So
that's crazy.
But you pay for who you want to see, and this. But
they're both the draw.
But okay, going back to it. Leonard never left the limelight though. He's sitting there. He's doing the announcing, and but
that's not really the limelight.
Yeah,
the limelight is the ring.
Yeah, but everybody bows to him when
that's why they had problems with him.
So that being said, and then when we go back to corporate America and why you have certain people that make money. Yeah, he's still the one that everybody's get. Even boxing. Let's take corporate America out of it. Let's take the public out of it. Boxer said, you get 14, you get 11. So how, when you translate that to business and your face is selling something, how is that not the person you're going with? You see what I mean? But Haggler did a great job. He became a marketing face because he was smooth. He wasn't maybe the prettiest guy.
That's why I said earlier from last week, from where I'm standing looking in, once he hit, dude, you were a big deal. Well, so why are you holding on to resentment? You finally got it.
That's how he was able to walk away, though. I think that's like you said, he didn't get the overall hug that Sugar Ray got, but I
like how you worded that.
But he's on late night television. He's
Carson.
He's doing interviews. He's loved by the fans.
Commercials, Saturday Night Live.
They gave it up to him, and that's when I said you got to decide. Sometimes it's not about having the biggest house; it's about having the nicest house.
You know, I tell you. Obviously, when Duran kept making the point, you know, America's the big bully. Everybody bows to America. You know, Ali had Black America on his shoulders. I couldn't imagine being Roberto Duran and you got a whole country.
No, it's a little country, but a country.
Whole fucking country. Like Ali was loved by Black America before he was finally. He didn't get embraced by all America until he Parkinson's and he was well out of the limelight in that way. But he wasn't carrying all of America. A good portion of white America hated Ali. This Duran, I mean, a whole country.
It wasn't just his country, though. It was all of South, the whole, all the Hispanic community rallied around him.
Yeah,
because that's the guy, that's the guy, and everybody, and he said something that America doesn't. It wasn't about being the best, because he said, like, basically what he said is America's not going to embrace me because they don't want to look at me as a Panamanian as the best.
Right.
America wants to only see itself as the best.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to look at him as the best. So when you say that, and you say as a Panamanian, but you could say that for all the other countries, that America still thinks of them as the best, and they don't want to look at these other boxers as the best. Because, and you know, it's context again. You have to put that boxing is still like this. It's this sport because it's an individual sport as well. You know, you're not playing. It's two guys that are going at it, and whoever comes out on top is that's the guy. So this is still like a sport that people who are fans are just. This is it's not. And these belts aren't just for, like, if you win, it's still like winning the Super Bowl is winning the world of football.
Right.
But it's still, there's other football leagues, there's other football teams, when you win in boxing and you're the champion of the world.
Right.
And I think that's, maybe you don't feel that way as much today because boxing its relevance is a little bit is diminished on boxing's own doing and some of the shady shit that it did. But back then, boxing was like you were on top of the world.
You know, you just said something that made me. Let me jump to this note. You know, they said in this where it was like, you know, Tommy Hearns was such a jolt to Detroit because, you know, the poverty and the jobs and I don't know exactly when Detroit turned, but at one point with the making of cars, it was. I don't know what point it turned, but whatever point it turned, and obviously sometime in the 80s with drugs and all of that,
It was in the 70s when it started to dip.
Tommy was a beacon of hope, and he was so. They would say things like, and this is something I never understood. How people would get uplifted because of your city, because your city produced a championship fighter. Like a win for him is a win for us, I would go. The question I'm saying to myself is, you're still broke, you're still poor, you're still in bad conditions. I don't get how because he's from Detroit and a win for him is a win for y'all. What did you win? Like there was this moment after the Sugar Ray Duran, the first fight, where this poor ass looking black dude goes, "Yeah, Sugar Ray lost. Sugar Ray lost, but he really won because he got $10 million." And this is so excited for something that's not his. How are you that excited for that?
Because when Tommy Hearns is winning, and he's a poor kid that came out of the streets of Detroit, right? And he made it. That means you can make it too. That's what it means. If he could do it, you could do it. Now, you might not be able to do it with boxing, but he's proven that from the streets you can come and you can become something. That's what it is.
That's what that's about?
That's what that's about.
Because Charles Barkley would often say, he would go, let me tell you something, man. Most kids that won't play professional basketball, I say be a lawyer, be a doctor, because most people ain't going to make it to the NBA. That's the reality. A lot of people can't play in the NBA. It's a small percentage. So I guess I hear what you're saying about the motivation, but I'm just going, yeah, Tommy won, so we won. You're living in the projects.
Yeah, but you got to get behind something. When you have nothing, you have to have something to get behind, and that's something. He made it. We all have a chance to make it. I don't know what my chance is, but we all have a chance to make it. If he can make it, I can make it.
So unless you got a right hand like him, which most people don't,
But there's other opportunities, like kids going to, like you said, going to college and getting a profession, opening up a business. I can make it. I can make it. He made it. I have this little. I have a little barbershop. I'm gonna make my barbershop. I'm gonna do my job. I went to barber school. I'm gonna become a barber. I'm gonna cut Tommy Hearns' hair, and then he's gonna get me other boxers, and other people are gonna come in. I can make it. I can make it. It's not about making $1 million. It's about making it. Because when you have nothing, having something is making it. You don't have to have it all. You have to just make it. And I think that's what people, when they get behind that, it's because you've been so beat up and felt like you don't have one opportunity. And then you had someone show you that there is an opportunity. You just got to find your path. I think that's what it is.
All right. Back to Duran, the famous Nomos fight where he quit. And I thought it was hilarious when they said he was so vilified because he quit that people who went, man, I bet my house on you because you gave up. Not even just because you lost. If you lost, yeah, I might lose out. You gave up, and I put my life savings on you. He said he was getting threats and stuff, but I didn't know, again, until I saw the documentary, this nigga raised a lion from a cub. So he said when he wanted to go walking in the streets and didn't want people to with him, he'd walk with the lion.
Yeah.
And no one would with him. That's badass.
Because he had a lion.
He had a lion. Roberto Duran walking down the street with a lion, nigga.
In Panama. See, let's go back a little bit about what you said, because I mean you wanted to bring some of the politics in it, so I'll tell you too. And they didn't touch on this. I honestly, I know that you like some of the political parts in here. I felt it was kind of forced and contrived, and then places,
really,
yeah, for places that they could have put it in, I wish they would have. Part of Duran and being from Panama, and the Panama Canal situation, and America and Americans living in that area, and living in the best area where the Panamanians had to live in an area that was. When he fought and he's winning, it's also beating America.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't put it into those terms. Like he wasn't. It wasn't just that he won and the Panamanians won, but the whole Panama won, because America's holding its thumb on top of it because of the Panama Canal. And I'm not necessarily saying I agree with that statement wholeheartedly, but I am saying that's how the people of Panama felt. And now he's going to come up. And he beats him. He didn't just beat him.
And
he didn't
the city
they
went crazy.
Yeah, because also they beat America. Yeah, that they didn't touch on it that same way, and it's important because they're fighting because they don't understand what the policies are that's going on that's allowing them not to have it, and especially if the nice area is being inhabited by Americans and the poor areas are being inhabited by and you have the canal. Why do they get the nice area? And there's no understanding to that. How would you explain that? How would you show that? Well, we help support it, we help fund it, we help build it, so they're here for. But who cares? It's almost like a shit, like just in your face. Yeah, you did all this, you have this, but we're living here in the nice areas with the nice restaurants, with the nice business. They said it, but they didn't say it the same way. So him winning fights was winning for the country.
Well, I mean, it's what you just said a second ago. It's the underlining for. If he could do it, we could do it. But now let me get political a second because, with the Reagan thing, this is why it pisses me off when people on the right love to say, oh, black people, y'all need to get off the Democratic plantation. The Democrats. And my argument is always, why do y'all act like the right hasn't been just as because they say in this thing where it goes, first of all, and again, I didn't know this again till I watched this. And I remember when I first saw this, I mentioned it to you, the Make America Great slogan. I thought that Trump made that up.
I told you before that this has been around forever.
Reagan thing.
Reagan, Clinton.
Right, but they pointed out how they was like, Reagan would say certain things and we would talk about going back to the 50s when life was such a certain way. And somebody said, Reagan is basically dog whistling to the people that can hear it. So again, it's this undertone of where it's like, yeah, you're running for president and you want to sell yourself as the man for the people, but to some degree, you just mean white people. And the reason why I'm saying that is because they show this moment, which I loved, where I don't know if he's in Brooklyn or the Bronx, and he's visiting some of the poor areas where niggas in Spics live. And Puerto Ricans or whatever. And he's going back and forth with this one lady, this black lady, and I guess she's over talking him or whatever, and he yells at her and he goes, well, I can't do a damn thing for you if I don't get elected. And it's that same where you come down to the projects, you pacify the people, you talk all that shit because you need the vote, but then once you get there, in comes Reaganomics. Once you get there, you don't give a about black people. And again, I wish I could find the snippet, but there is a soundbite where Reagan is talking to somebody and he's describing having been to Africa as monkeys in shoes. So
I thought that was Nixon.
No, it's him.
Okay.
So again, when some of y'all go Democratic, stop acting like the right has been saints because they haven't been.
No, both sides are terrible.
Yes,
but here's what the
grab this mic.
Were they wearing Timbs?
No, the monkeys didn't have on Timbs, nigga.
If he would have said Timbs, would you have at least culturally said, well, I see his point?
No, I'd have been like, well, the monkeys they wore Timbs. What kind of Timbs, Mr. Reagan? Oh, the butters.
You want to give him credit for at least knowing
right,
about Timbs?
Yeah.
And the reason I'm saying that, would you give him credit for knowing? Go ahead and laugh at it, whatever you said. Who comes out with the Make America Great Again after that?
Trump.
Clinton.
Oh, Clinton said it too?
Yeah. And we give Clinton credit. What black community gave Clinton credit, right?
Black community loved Clinton. They called him the first black president because he played saxophone on Arsenio.
Because he knew what butter Timbs were. That's all I'm saying.
I know what butter Timbs are. I can't do Clinton.
But I'm just okay. That was my point of this. Let me just say this. This is where some things I say are going to be vilified, and I don't give. Here we go. When was America great again? That's one of the things that I do hear. When has America been great for black people? That's the other thing that I hear.
Bryan Cranston said that on an interview. During an interview.
I have a video. I'm not going to pull it up because I'm going to have to look for it. I'm not going to take the time of it. But it's a black professor. I think it's a professor, and he's talking about around the 1930s when the black community in Black Wall Street was built. When they built all these communities on their own. Yes, they were destroyed, and yes, they were rebuilt. That's what people don't also know because the black community had the power to rebuild their community. They had the marriage rate was highest. Poverty was lowest in the 30s up to the 40s. So this was happening. I told you about when the stock market crashed in the late 20s. Black America at that time had the most cash available because when the stock market crashed and because banking wasn't fond of black consumers, most blacks didn't have their money in banks. So when that happened, they had cash. The economy was dependent on black dollars at that time.
Okay, I don't mean to stop you, but I don't want to lose my train of thought. If you're going where I'm thinking you're going, which is you're saying, given these examples, these were times where America was great for black?
No.
Right.
No. It wasn't great for black people. It wasn't. Has it been? What is greatness? Let's go with that first of all.
Aries.
Aries. If equality is greatness, but it's all equality, does it make a difference? It's when success is happening, and success was happening in the black community. When we get to the 50s and they talk about it, success for America was the biggest time of industry for America. As money flows and more money's available, do more people have access to success? That's the question. That's the question that I would say that I don't have answers to. I don't know what the success rate of blacks, but racially, it wasn't a great time. Economically, I think that there's an argument that could be made economically that time was better for blacks than it is now. So to make America great again, we're talking strictly from economics, would you say that could have been a better time? That's the question. And I'm not trying to answer this question. I'm saying, though, you have to put it in context to what they're asking. If you're saying make America great again when there was no black people that were in your neighborhood, that would be the wrong answer to the question to that. Is that what they're saying, though? Do you think that people are actually? Do you think that they're getting up and they're saying it is a dog whistle to going back to a time when segregation was more prevalent and before the civil rights movement, or do you think they're talking about what politicians run on is what is the same? What is the saying in politics? If the economy's good and you're responsible for that economy, you're going to win. So are they talking about the economy or are they talking about segregation?
I think you'd be naive to think it's not a little of both.
I guess it depends on when you say dog whistle. I guess it's who the dog is that they're putting this out there.
You don't even use the term dog whistle in a positive way. It's only in a negative way.
Yeah, I know. I know that. But what I'm saying is, you could say that they're saying that, but that's no, because today. I'm saying today, do you think that people are really, how much of America do you think is looking at it and going, and I'm asking, I'm not telling you, I'm asking, how many people are really looking and going, if the economy was even just as good as it is right now, but we could get these black people out of our neighborhoods, I'd be happier.
What's your question? How many people are asking
Do you think that that's a selling point?
Of course, there's a segment of people that do feel that way.
Yeah, but do you think that's the selling point? Do you think that's how you could get elected by just that theory?
You can't say that like that.
But that's what you're saying if you're saying that the dog whistle is going out there.
Right. And I think that to some degree, that is how you get elected, by that segment of people that believe that way, that think like that.
Okay, now
you just run on things like immigration.
Well, now you can't do that either, man. Let me ask you the other question. How many people in the Democratic Party are also for that same idea?
I'm sure quite a few.
Okay, so then it's not going to win an election. The economy is going to win an election. So to me, when you say make America great again, it's almost like this is where we say, I like to put these two together. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is one of those things that you can say, and then when people don't understand that, they'll say, well, don't all lives matter? So we can misconstrue that if we want to. That can be misconstrued. We have all these things that get misconstrued. Make America great again. Are we misconstruing that, or are we really just saying that America at this time ran great. We had opportunity. Money was flowing. Our business was great. Our economy was great. There was more jobs being for everyone. The time of that time period. And when we go back and look at Detroit, let's take Detroit for example. More black millionaires were created because of the car business at that time, because of the economic opportunity. So if you have that economic opportunity and you make millionaires out of people, isn't that good for the black community?
I would think so.
Okay, so what is it? And this is where I think when you have somebody whose face is Trump, you get that reaction. But when it was Clinton that said it, you didn't get that reaction.
But
because you trusted him to want better things for all people.
But he also wasn't as scandalous as Trump.
I know. But,
and didn't say horrendous.
But the same thing is said. It's the same wording. So do you want to which one is it? What is he saying? It's the same wording.
When you say, give me an example of what you mean when you say the same wording.
Make America great again.
Yeah, do one of Aries' jokes tonight. Same wording.
Yeah. I will. I'll do the thing about the cigarettes.
It's got to be a.
But again, I want to go back to the one thing that I said. You know, and when he's in that neighborhood, and he's telling the black woman, "I can't do a damn thing unless you vote for me." Like again, all politicians want the vote, but then when they get in power, they don't do what they say they're gonna do.
Okay.
Especially within the black community.
Okay. What? And I know you're a big Obama fan. So tell me what Obama's policy was to make the black community better.
I don't look at it like that.
Okay, but then why do you look at it from a white person? Why do you look at it from a white president that way?
Because again, you can Google his accomplishments in terms of black people, and he did.
Okay,
he did.
But if you raise the economy and you raise up all sinking ships, what is it? What's the saying about sinking ships?
Was Reagan good for the black community?
He made black people rich. Not all black people, but black people got rich off Reaganomics. People who knew how to use money were able to make money off with Reagan. Now let me ask you this question, because I'm going to ask you the question the same way. Was he good for white America?
Absolutely.
There was plenty of white Americans that didn't do well during his time as well. People who knew how to work with money made a lot of money when Reagan was president. But people who didn't, like my family, didn't make money off Reagan. He cut my family worked. My dad worked on base. He got cuts. He lost benefits. He didn't do well. If you knew how to make money, Reagan was good for you. If you didn't know how to make money, Reagan wasn't good for you. Now, a greater population of whites have had more access to money and the idea of how to use money, so it did lift them up more than it did the black community. But if you were black and you knew how to do it, you were lifted up. The fair part about the Republican idea, this is the fair. I'm going to give you the fair part, and I'm not agreeing with either one when I say this. The Republican idea is that if you make the economy strong for America, everyone has a fair opportunity to get into that. Now, that being said, if you don't have equality across the board, it isn't a fair economy.
And I would start there.
Okay, but I can't do that. The president's job is to get the economy back. He can't go in and individually reframe everything. He can do things like accessing more college. He could do that. Those are things that he can do.
Right, and if the black community is not as financially savvy or literate as the white community, doing that would help.
But the white community isn't financially literate either. This is the greatest.
But you just said if he has the ability in terms of implementing some things education-wise, then that can help that.
Yes.
Can it not?
It can help everyone.
Okay, so
that is the job of the president, is to make everyone more financial. I would think that if I was the president, my first job would be to make everybody more financially literate. Because the more financially literate you are, the better you can do with the amount of money that you have.
But come on now, don't think for 1 second that there are certain powers that be in office that don't want us financially literate.
No.
Black people, they do not want us to be that.
No, wait a minute. They don't really want anybody.
I know you say anyone.
No, I'm going to prove it to you right now.
Prove it.
The public school systems now have been in the hands since 1976, 77 in the hands of the federal government. Where's the financial literal classes that are in the public school system? Where are the classes to make people smart and be able to be financially literate so that they can take control of their own finances so that they can become successful from a minimum to get themselves out of poverty? Where are those classes? Why were they never taught in school? How come they haven't been taught in school?
Yeah, they should. They should have those
Listen,
classes.
Can you say it to him? They should. Let me hear you say it to him.
No, listen.
Say it to my face.
No, like everything should be. Do that thing to him that you do to me. There's a lot of should-ups.
No, I know that in terms of the masses, yeah, big bank, little bank, they want all people to be robots and drones and be in the workforce and slave away. That's how the rich stay rich. But they especially don't want, again, like I've always said, when it comes to, and this is just the fabric of America, when it comes to us doing the same thing, meaning black, white, put a little bit of extra sauce on shit. That's just who we are. So, yeah, in terms of money and wealth, they really don't want us in that driver's seat.
They love you guys.
They don't want anybody in that driver's seat. They want the poor to be poor. But they really don't want us in the driver's seat.
They like you having money. Because there's one thing that I will say about black folks, they spend money.
Right.
And that's good for the economy.
And that's where we also are not financially literate because we spend money on things that don't benefit us.
There you go.
Playing loud music at the country club.
God, the real Mark is going to come out real soon.
But that said,
I don't think Reagan was the greatest for the black community. At least it's kind of like looking at these things.
I don't think he was the great for. But okay.
Well, all right. So, like a lot of policies, like we're better off for high earners and not low earners, and disproportionately blacks were lower earning. So, not necessarily driven towards black people, but just people who didn't make money, which disproportionately
is what I just
affects,
said over here without
people.
saying it the same
way. And there was
that he said it.
that crack cocaine thing where they started the war on drugs, locked up.
And again, it wasn't an accident that most of that was pushed into the black community.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute.
I feel like that's pretty racist.
Well, you got to step back from that though and go even further. The prison industrial system has been built off putting black people in jail.
Okay, so listen, whether you're talking about the prison system benefit putting black people in jail, the crack cocaine epidemic in the black community, that's why when you sometimes say these things where you go all people, but it ain't designed for all people. Some of it is specifically designed to us in the ass.
If you improve the economy and money is flowing and jobs are available and people are not demonized, it lifts up everyone.
Okay, but Andy, this is the thing. You always go if.
Okay,
but that if never happens.
Okay, now,
but what does happen is when it comes to the dehumanizing and the ass of a people, we're at the top of the chart.
Okay, now let's go to the other side because that's what I just was saying was the Republican, the conservative side. What's the liberal Democratic side? Hey, you don't have, so we're going to give you. We're going to give you, and this was in there. This was in the documentary. We're going to give you money, but the man can't be in the house. Because we're going to give you money. We're going to give you money for your kids, but your man can't be there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the other side of this coin. So we're going to take care of you, but we're going to make you a slave to the system that we have.
And when you already know that there's an issue with black men not being in the house, how does that help us? So you're going to give us the money, but you're going to exclude the father?
So that's why I said both sides of this are the one side, and this is why I still would lean towards the conservative side is because if I put money in and I build up an economy, everybody who can figure out how to take advantage of the opportunity can get it. The other one is, and this is what I have a problem with the liberal system that's in place now. The liberal system has been put in place to replace church, God, because your God is now your government, because your God takes care of you. And this is what's happening to me. This is just me. This is what's happening today when I hear the youth of America saying, we should have this, we should have this, we should have this, and we should have this. All these should-haves used to be provided. You used to be able to do this, but now you look to your government to do that. Churches used to do it. People used to do it. Is what happened to us being able to take care of ourselves? We have a lot of reasons why we can't take care of ourselves. What
are you talking about? Like SNAP programs or something?
I'm talking about all programs. You used to be able to go to a food bank and you used to be able to get food. Now you get SNAP programs, but you have to live off a certain way that the government tells you can only make so much money. So what happens in a lot of situations if you can only make so much money and you don't want to lose your SNAP program, or if you don't want to lose your housing?
I mean, there's always going to be people that game the system.
Oh my God. No, it's not about gaining the system. It's about making a system that if you don't stay poor, you lose your benefits, and now you're because what is better for you? To not work? And this isn't about gaining the system. I'm in a better position to not work than if I do work. I'm going to have even less money and see my kids even less, because now it works against me. So what's happening is we replaced our country, our God, our community that we used to get support with to our government. And that's what you worship. You worship your government, because we don't go to church anymore because the government is the one who takes care of us.
So you think it's all net bad social programs?
No. I don't think safety nets.
The bad outweighs the good.
I just said I can't answer it, and then he keeps going on. No, I don't. I think we need social programs, but social programs can't be tied in to, if you take this, you must live the way that we tell you to. And if you go $1 over, we're going to revoke this from you. Social programs should be made to help people and benefit them, and then move them on. But we don't move people on because we don't have job programs anymore. We used to have job programs. We used to have things so that people could get in places that they could go and move out of poverty. We don't move people in poverty. We move people to poverty.
Real quick. So talking about General Omar Torrijos and that whole thing. Was his plane crash a freak accident, or?
There's been a lot of plane crashes and helicopter crashes in the world. And as we go on this, I'm going to tell you something that you probably...
Was it a real helicopter crash, or did the CIA do that?
I don't know who did it, but...
They hinted that the CIA did it.
I don't know who did it. I will say again, there's been a lot of plane crashes, a lot of helicopter crashes with people on there that no longer served the purpose that they wanted.
Right.
I will say,
America, boy.
No.
Oh God.
Here's. I want to say this about Reagan, because we didn't get into the Contra thing. You did bring up crack into the black neighborhoods, or cocaine into the black neighborhoods that was reconstituted into crack and then made a different business. And here's the thing about this, though, that's really, and I'm going to go to Biden on this as well as Reagan. There has to be an age limit, or like some kind of test that you have to get, because Reagan in that last term shouldn't have been finishing out his term either. He had been shot. He was older, and he was suffering from. I don't think that he was fully capable of being the president.
I gotta say this, and this was my last note on the Reagan thing. When he got in the controversy for selling arms to Iran, and he goes, "I feel in my heart I haven't done anything wrong, but there is evidence that might suggest otherwise." If that ain't the most political answer I've ever heard.
I think that he didn't put people under the bus that actually did this. I really think that I think that he was in that position where he didn't know what was going on as well either, because that doesn't fit, because selling arms was the way to do this whole back channel way of producing things. And this is where it gets really complicated. And I'm not saying this happened or didn't happen. All I'm saying is it's very unusual. And I don't think that this ever happened before. But the vice president at the time, which is George Bush, was also the former head of the CIA. And the Contra program was run through the CIA. And there was definitely contact within the White House to make this happen. And you have a sitting president who I don't think his faculties were 100%. So I just wanted to just put that out there. And I think the scariest president that we've ever had, I'm not saying the worst president. I'm just saying
George
the scariest.
W. Bush?
Yeah, because he was the head of the CIA at one time, and he
Senior or junior?
senior.
Oh.
And the Bush family has connections throughout the whole world.
I forget the name of that movie. It's a great movie with Tom Cruise, where he plays the airplane pilot who's
Smuggling drugs.
Yeah.
American made?
Yeah, I think
Is
that
that
is
it? That was kind of what that was about, wasn't it?
kind of.
Certain aspects of that.
Yeah.
With guns and
Running.
that was under Bush's time, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of, isn't it kind of interesting that that other part takes place while Reagan's in office, but then Bush gets elected. I'm not saying, listen, I'm saying the same thing about the helicopter crashes and plane crashes. I'm not saying that Bush had anything to do with it. I'm just saying it's very convenient that this op that was run back channeled through the CIA is actually going on and has connections to the White House, even though we have a president that isn't probably 100% and doesn't really, is being said that he doesn't really know how this happened. And there is a vice president that was the former head of the CIA. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, if you wrote a book, would you not write it that way?
America is the slickest country in the world.
No, they're all slick countries. Listen, I got so many slick.
I'm just saying slick in terms of from the outside, looks so like everything you hear it is, which is why everybody wants to come here and live the dream. But it's so shady,
Governments,
and dirty.
all the governments are slick. I'm not going to even go dirty. I'm going to say slick. Listen, man, just play these games for a second. I'm sorry, I'm going off the rails here a little bit, but I'll just play these games for me for a second. But I'm going to give it to you this way: China's income and its prosperity happened when it got Hong Kong back. Hong Kong developed this engine that allowed just the overall population of China to go to work and to make this economic engine that has made them one of the best economies in the world, right? Who had control of Hong Kong before them for years?
Bruce Lee.
The UK. Where's all the money? And you see the money. The biggest banking in the world is in the UK. Go look at all the buildings that have been there. All the money. Look how much it costs to live in London. Look what the expenses are. Look at how much money is in there. Look at the monarchy. Look at everything that happens in the UK. What all those? I don't see the people with all that money, but that money financed a country to become one of the biggest countries in the world. But that money used to just go into the UK. France sits there quietly and tells you that they're the greatest country, that they're a very calm country, that they're very about the people. But their roots in Africa are unbelievable. You don't stay on top because you are being the nicest guy in the neighborhood.
Well, I know when you go, all countries are slick. Yes, I'm not arguing that. But the number one bully on the block is who?
You don't want to ask me because this will turn into another conversation.
It's not America.
America's the biggest with the biggest
perspective, really.
It's the biggest with the biggest economy. We have this idea, but but I honestly question whether America is used as what you put. If you wanted to subterfuge, if you wanted to make something look like you weren't the biggest, baddest, why wouldn't you have someone running the pack, leading the front line, and being in charge? They made America what it is. We close out business on the dollar. We have the biggest military. We have the biggest, and we spend all this money to protect all over the world. We do all these things, and we're in debt up to our eyeballs. But there's other countries, and I just named them, that are doing real well from standing behind.
Here's something I just don't understand, and maybe you can help me understand this. We keep
not taking advantage of us.
I keep hearing how we're in debt. Trillions. We're in debt. This feels to me like a fantasy, we're in debt. It's a fantasy. It's an illusion. Because I don't understand how we could be this deep in debt for so long, and at one point, doesn't the debt have to get settled, or there's consequences and
It
repercussions?
hasn't been that long, really.
Yeah, it hasn't been long. Clinton had the debt balanced. It was balanced.
Really?
Yeah, it hasn't been that
See,
long.
this is where I just...
I don't know what happens. I don't know how it works.
No, they
I
don't.
don't think it's like this nightmare of a thing. Like
Yeah, it is a
next
nightmare of a
year
thing.
or the year after.
Yeah, it
but
is.
It's like
They raise the
Like
debt ceiling.
sometimes
They raise
the
the debt ceiling every year.
chicken's gonna come home to roost.
So we're currently in debt, right?
Yeah,
How long have we been in debt?
since yeah,
So how long has it been?
the big debt.
Yeah. The trillions of dollars.
Well, we didn't hit $1 trillion till not that long ago, and then it just exploded because one, COVID, which people will blame Trump, but it's COVID, and they'll blame Biden, but it was COVID.
Okay, so you're saying at one point it was balanced, so there was no debt?
No, there was debt, but
surplus.
our budget was balanced so that we would be able to pay off our debt every year and we would be clean. But there was always debt.
No, there was the surplus.
But there was never it's never a surplus. It's a surplus because we write out our budget and then what's left. And then every year they always figure out how to spend the surplus. So there's never been a surplus. There's never been a time when we went over, hey, we got extra money. We're going to get this extra money. It was always spent. Money's always been spent. Our government spends our money.
So Bill Clinton didn't get a surplus?
He had a surplus, but then it was spent. It wasn't like they put it into an account and then they refunded Social. Wait. Let me say this because this is important. It wasn't like there was a surplus and then he said, okay, well then let's pay back Social Security all the money that we owed them that we took out of it. That's why Social Security will not be around.
So
forever.
then, what's the national debt number? Is there other things in it that?
What do you mean? National
Wait,
debt?
Social Security is not part of the debt.
But we used the Social Security money to pay for other items. So if there was a
that's
surplus,
fraud right there.
So if there's a surplus, why didn't we put the money back in?
Do they take it from Social Security?
Oh my God, man! I just wish you were a little older.
And I wish I was a little wiser. Before we wrap this up, I want to bring it back to the boxing. They pointed out how, and unless somebody tells you, again, from the outside looking in, you don't know what somebody's life is like. But I had no idea that, for lack of better words, Ray almost was suffering through depression because of the detached retina. He didn't really want to be retired. He was missing the limelight. They talked about at one point how he said he was doing cocaine, drinking.
When you do $4 million worth of cocaine, that chemical will make you depressed alone. Not only will it make you depressed, but when you wake up and you realize you just spent $1 million on cocaine, you're even more depressed.
Well, some people might even like to be in the position to be able to spend that kind of money on cocaine. I had no idea. At one point, he was a little physically abusive to his woman, his wife, Juanita, and then he pointed out later on in this that when he was a young boy coming up in boxing, a coach who he trusted had sexually molested him. And that's when, again, one of the ladies that was narrating this was like, because homosexuality runs so deeply within the black community, people go, why ain't you tell nobody? Man, you should have killed that motherfucker.
It's better to keep it quiet.
Better to keep it quiet. I wish we as a community, black people, we weren't so homophobic, and I'm not, again, I'm not for it. Live your life, but I don't, you know what I'm saying? But still, to somehow just like we almost treat our own, like we outcast them, like you know what I'm saying? It's a reality. It's a reality.
You know what? It's funny though the way you said it because we're not for it. You go, I'm not for it. But are you for straightness?
Absolutely.
No, you're not. Straightness just occurs. You are happy with what you feel is the natural order, and straightness occurs. No one ever goes, yay, straight.
I do.
But the same thing in the gay community. No one went, yay. Well, that's a little different. Maybe they do, yay, gay. But what I'm saying is it's not something that you hope and root for. It's just is. And so that's the situation.
There's a comedian who I love, who I follow on Instagram. I think his name is Will Mills. He's a New York big beard, very aggressive sound. He's so New York. But his thing is, his slogan is always pack you up. Like anytime somebody does some stupid shit, some ridiculous shit, he goes, like there's this one guy on Instagram called Yada Awakening. And this nigga is all about saying ridiculous shit to pander to women. He goes, man, if you serious about trying to date a woman, you need to get that woman $50,000 up front. And then cut to Will, and he'll go, man, pack this nigga up. Man, shut your ass up. Pack this nigga up. Just anytime you say ridiculous shit. And he was on Vlad recently, and he was talking about, listen, black people's issue with gay people aren't that you're gay. It's that you're annoying. Just don't be annoying. Be gay. But gay people are often annoying with the shenanigans and the loudness and the, you know, in your face. And you know.
Wait, who are? The shenanigans and the loudness?
Gay people.
Oh, gay people?
Yeah. So it's just
There's
like.
no other group of people that you think is with shenanigans and loudness and extra sauce on it.
That's funny. That's funny.
Good point, Andrew.
Hence black fatigue. That's funny. But you.
But I'm just saying, you're vilifying someone for
Great
displaying characteristics
great
that are.
Point. That's a great point. I didn't think of it like that because I was more in tune to what he was saying. But yeah, okay, touche. But you could throw, you know what? But that. You could throw anybody in that.
You could.
Hillbillies, Hispanics.
Dude, I lived in, being Hispanic myself, I grew up around mariachi music, not my favorite music, not my least favorite music. But when I moved to Phoenix, I lived in a Mexican neighborhood. And I got to tell you, I was not a fan of waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to mariachi music, but that was part of the culture. And so you deal with the culture that you're in. But I lived in that neighborhood, so I accepted the culture that was bestowed upon me. But when that mariachi music comes into another area, you would say that, like you're just saying, what is this? What is this? You don't know it. It's not necessarily that it's loud or it's the extra sauce or whatever it is. It's just it's not part of what you know. It's about us not really knowing and being having all cultures welcome. Now there is some extra sauce on some things. Every group has that, and sometimes it's too much. And every group doesn't always like that extra that their own group puts out.
Right.
And there's in the gay community, it's the same way. There's a lot of gay people that have spoken out against what Pride
Month,
the Pride parades have turned into. They've spoken out against it because they feel it's over the top now. Now it's not about just embracing and a loving culture to being prideful for who you are, but it's over sexualized and it became. And I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just putting it out there that's been said. So every community has these issues with their own community. We all do. It's when the other communities want to point it out and vilify the whole community for a group, a smaller group. I understand the gay thing, but I also said that I hate over heterosexual men that think that they got to smash beer cans off their forehead and talk just about how much they bang every day. You get that.
I'm trying to tone down on that.
Yeah, well, but that also is too much too. So, there is too much in all groups, but you don't vilify the group. And the advantage that let's just say this, the advantage that white America has is that their groups that are too much, they have a whole nother group, a big, large group to protect it and make it smaller, minimize it. But when you're 13% of the country and you take 10%, let's just say it's 1%, and the other 12% is amazing, and then this 1% is where the problems are. You're vilifying that other percentage, and that's not the fair part. Same thing with the gay community, and I don't know what the percentage is. Mark probably knows, but so I'm just saying we vilify. And the white community gets a break because they can tamp that down because they're the larger part of the largest segment of the community. But when we vilify the whole communities for a minor part of a community, that's where the problems come in.
Folks, this is a great watch, man. I'm telling you. I know this round 2 got more political, but that's a part of the doc. So for those of you who out there will go, oh, I hate when they get political, suck a d-. This is part of the documentary. We gave you the ingredients that were in the sandwich. But watch it. I'm telling you, the Kings, it's great.
See, you bring up the gay community and then you start telling people to suck it. You don't know where to stop.
Hey, man, pack you up, man. Pack this nigga up, man.
Is that a show?
That's a show.
Let me give out some dates real quick. You're going to be listening to this. We're July 31st through August 3rd. We're at the Stress Factory in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Followed by August 7th through the 9th, we're going to be at Mike Drake Comedy Club on the other side of the country out there in San Diego. August 15th through the 17th, we're going to be at the Bricktown Comedy Club in OKC. August 22nd through the 24th, Tacoma Comedy Club in Tacoma, Washington. August 28th through the 31st, Helium Comedy Club in Philadelphia. That's a big change. I know we were saying that we're going to be in St. Louis, but we made that switch, so we're going to be in Philly instead. September 5th through the 6th, we're going to be at the Hartford Funny Bone in central Manchester, Connecticut. September 12th through the 13th, the Funny Bone in Kansas City, Missouri. September 18th to the 20th, Hyenas Comedy Club in Albuquerque, New Mexico. September 25th to the 28th, Stress Factory in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And October 3rd to the 5th, we're going to be at the Funny Bone in That's where I messed up, but we're going to be the Funny Bone in Orlando, Florida. Guys, I think that's a show.
That's a show?
That's a show. Mark, is that a show?
That's a wrap.
Hey, Steve, that's a round. Give us some more boxing bells. Ding, ding.
And then you should have Adrian. I did it.
I did it! I just want to say one thing. This is the greatest night in the history of my life. Besides my kid being born. We love you, Rock. Yeah, and I love you too. Hey, you, Adrian. I did it.
That's the show.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit spearsburgpod.com.